Hello, I'm Tina Oelke and your instructor for PSYC263. Today we're going to discuss Chapter 1 of Lifespan Development. We're going to get our feet under us and determine a good foundational starting point. The first thing that you might find handy is to print off the PowerPoint, which you can see on the Resources page in the classroom. If you navigate to the Resources page, you'll see under the Chapter Resources heading that there are hyperlinks that say Chapter 1. One set contains the full PowerPoints for the chapter, and one is an abbreviated version that is just for this audio lesson. If you click on the blue hyperlink that says Chapter 1 Audio, it will bring up the correct PowerPoint. Once it opens, you can then set your print options. I suggest changing it to the note slides. You can get there by clicking where it says Full Page Slides. Change that to 3 slides. It changes it to a notes view. Then I would also suggest printing in black and white. If you have a computer that can do this, I suggest changing your print to 2-sided as well. During today's lesson, for our schedule, we have defining the lifespan perspective, determining the nature of development, and discussing the theories of development. The study of development starts with observations. While taking this class, make it a habit to observe people at the grocery store, at play, at work, in interactions with each other, and in the news. Start thinking people, and we'll start putting perspectives and concepts on them. Development is one of those words we use, but it's hard to define. Development, as defined by our text, is the pattern of movement or change that begins at conception and continues through the human lifespan. It involves growth and declines over time. The traditional approach to development says that you change for a lot from birth to adolescence, then some in adulthood, and then you decline in adulthood. I guess that in this perspective, it was as good as it gets during childhood, because after adolescence, it's all downhill. The lifespan perspective, on the other hand, suggests that development happens throughout the entire lifespan. We'll be taking this approach through our time during our studies together. The lifespan perspective is all-encompassing. It takes many different things into account. It's lifelong in that no age period is more important than another, multidimensional in that it consists of biological, cognitive, and socio-emotional dimensions, multidirectional in that some dimensions expand and others shrink. For example, remember when you got your first love, the time with your friends decreased. Plastic in that there is a capacity for change, multidisciplinary in that development is of interest to psychologists, sociologists, anthropologists, neuroscientists, and others, and contextual in that all development occurs within a context or setting, for example, family, school, friends, and others. Now that we have defined the lifespan perspective, we'll determine the nature of development. The developmental period is a time frame in a person's life that is characterized by certain features. The prenatal period is from conception to birth and is marked by a period of tremendous growth. If you think about it, during the prenatal period, something grows from a single cell to an organism with a brain and behavioral capabilities. Infancy, which occurs from 18 to 24 months, is marked by dependence on adults, development of psychological activities like language, symbolic thought, and social learning. An early childhood from the end of infancy to 5 to 6 years. This time consists of the preschool years, time with peers, self-sufficiency, and play. In middle to late childhood, which occurs from ages 6 to 11, school-related skills like reading, writing, and arithmetic are developed. Additionally, a focus on achievement and self-control increases. In adolescence, from around 10 to 12 to 18 to 22, The variation is that some merge a stage with early adulthood and some separate it out. It is marked by rapid physical changes and pursuit of independence and identity. Thoughts during this period are logical, abstract, and idealistic. In early adulthood, from the late teens to early 30s, personal and economic independence and career and development, and selecting a new mate and starting a new family are important milestones. In middle adulthood, which occurs in ages 40 to 60, social involvement and responsibility, assisting the new generation, and becoming satisfied in a career are important. The last developmental period is late adulthood. Its ages cover 60 to 70 to death. This is the longest span into the developmental period and the most varied. If you contrast a 60-year-old with a 90-year-old, you can visualize a very different individual who can both fit into the same developmental period. Some of the characteristics of this period include a life review, adjustment to new social roles, retirement, and a loss of skills and abilities. Now that we've defined lifespan development and determined what it is, we should discuss what theories psychologists have come up with about development. Chapter 1 gives you a brief overview of them. However, you'll see them resurface throughout the term. We'll be discussing only the big guns today: psychoanalytic, cognitive, behavioral social cognitive, and eclectic. The first theory, psychoanalytic theory, describes development as primarily unconscious, in that the person isn't necessarily aware that they are going through development, be it physical, cognitive, or socio-emotional. Theorists believe that true understanding or growth can only occur when we analyze the symbolic meanings behind our behaviors. Additionally, psychoanalytic theorists believe that early experiences with our parents shape our development. For example, if I came into session with a complaint that I was negative and wanted to change, a psychoanalytic theorist might have me explore if there was a time in my childhood when I felt that I had to continue in something I didn't want to. Perhaps I was repressing resentment toward my mother who told me no all the time. If I explored that time and deeper hidden meaning, then I could break free of my negativity. Freud was the founder of psychoanalysis. He believed that all our behaviors were based on if we progressed through a series of sexual-based stages: oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital. He believed that the adult personality is determined if we resolve the conflict when passing from one stage to another. Modern-day psychoanalysts do not place as much emphasis on sex. Erikson said that it's not about sex, it's about relationships and our desire to interact with others. He believes that this happens throughout the lifespan. He developed a psychosocial theory that consists of 8 stages of development. Each stage has a crisis that must be resolved. This chart shows the 8 stages. We'll be looking at Erikson's stages of development throughout the term. While the psychoanalytic theories were helpful to development in that they placed an emphasis on a developmental framework, family relationships, and the unconscious mind, they do lack scientific support, have a negative image of people, and have too much emphasis on sexual underpinnings. Moving on to the cognitive theories, Piaget developed a theory that we'll be coming back to and again through this term. I'll only briefly touch on it here since we will be revisiting it soon. Piaget's theory stresses cognitive thoughts and emphasizes the processes of organization and adaptation. As you can see by the chart, Piaget carries his theory throughout the entire lifespan. Vygotsky developed a sociocultural cognitive theory. As you can tell, this differs from Piaget's theory by the word sociocultural. Vygotsky believed that the social interaction and culture also are important to cognitive development. He also believed that learning is based on the inventions of society, and that less skilled people learn from those who are more skilled. I'm excited for us to be learning more about this theory later this term. In the information processing theory, unlike Vygotsky and Piaget, The belief is that individuals develop a gradually increasing capacity for processing information, and that thinking is information processing. This theory emphasizes that individuals manipulate information, monitor it, and strategize about it. The cognitive perspectives are good in that they brought us a positive view on development and an emphasis on the active construction of understanding. However, there is some skepticism about Piaget's stages, and some critics say there is too little attention to individual variations. The behavioral and social cognitive theories emphasize what is seen and can be measured. Skinner believed consequences of a behavior produces changes in the probability of the behavior's occurrences. For example, rewards and punishments will increase or decrease a behavior. Bandura founded the social cognitive theory, which states that behavior, environment, and cognition all impact each other and are key factors in development. He also emphasized observational learning, or learning by watching others. The behavioral and social cognitive theories are good in that they emphasize scientific research and environmental determinants of behavior. However, they lack emphasis on cognition and have inadequate attention given to developmental changes. Other theories for you to explore in your text include the ethological theory, which is characterized by critical or sensitive periods in development, and the ecological theory, which proposes that development reflects the influence of 5 environmental systems. Finally, the eclectic theory supposes that no single theory can explain all of development, and that every theory has contributed to our understanding. Eclectic orientation does not follow any one theoretical orientation. Instead, it takes the best from the best, if you will. That concludes what we will be covering in our PowerPoint mini-lesson. I look forward to hearing what you have to say in the discussion forum this week on Chapter 1, as you decide between writing about theory or ethics.